You stood by his side and he did this to you. In the end, you were a hero. You didn't run away. Didn't abandon him like me.
Why did you do it to me, Father? Why? Why did you leave me? Forgive me. Forgive me for everything. Next time I won't run. I'll never run away again. I'll find the one who did this to you. I remember his face. I'll find him. But first, I have to find this shovel and take care of you. I remember you told me you wanted to lie beside Mother. Here. Under the linden tree. At least I can do that much for you.
Get away, you mutt! Get away, you beast!
What's going on? Bishop, what in God's name are you doing?
What do you think I'm doing? Digging turnips? The beast just went from me.
Isn't that mutt the butcher's? Mutt? Isn't that body the butcher's?
Yeah, that's him. What's that got to do with anything?
I'd say the poor creature is standing guard over his master. You weren't trying to get to him, were you?
What do you care what I'm doing? What are you doing?
Came to bury my parents.
So bury them.
Do you know what happened to Teresa from the mill? When I fled, the humans wanted to... They meant to violate her. God knows what else.
No, I don't. What do I care? They probably raped her and killed her like all the others. Her misfortune. Right now, I've got to take care of myself.
How did you manage to get away?
How do you think? I ran.
Could you lend me that spade? I have to dig a grave, and I can't find another.
What's it worth to you? I see you have a fine sword. I'll gladly trade you my spade for that. How did you come by it?
My father forged it for Sir Radzig. It's my duty to deliver it to him. It's not for sale.
Go right ahead and dig that grave with your sword. See how that goes. And where will you dig it anyway? Here? You're not going to lay your parents in unhallowed ground, are you?
Father said he wanted to be buried here, and I can't take it to St. James. God willing, later I can find a priest to consecrate the ground. I've interrupted you robbing the dead. Is that why you're so ill-tempered? You bastard. Haven't you got a shred of honor?
And what of it? The butcher has no more need of corn. And now that I think of it, your sword would do me quite nicely as well. Will you hand it over without a fuss, or do you want to end up like the butcher here?
The only way you'll touch this sword is when I shove it in your guts.
So that's the way of it? Not without a sword, huh? Well, this isn't the end, fucker!
Easy way, boy. You know me. Your good master won't be needing this anymore. This is a good place. You're gonna like it.
So, let's get to it. Damn it all. How am I going to do this?
Do you need some help? Is that him?
Yes. Can't you see the sword?
Who are you? What do you want? Zbyszek?
Who do you think we are? Franciscan brothers? We're here to rob you of everything you've got. Especially that fine blade that's of no use to a peasant like you anyway.
Banish the thought. It is my father's sword.
You mean him? I don't think he's going to be needing it. Listen here, boy. You hand over that sword, I might just let you go. If not, you're in for a family reunion you really don't want.
Leave me alone.
Kill him, Runt! Aye, cut the bastard down. As you like. Could have just cost you a few teeth. Ah! God! I'll slay you. Gone weak as a dick. Bleed it dry! Get off, run! Oh! I'll slaughter. Take that! To the best fucker! Die now! Yeah. You'll get what for? You'll pay for that. Is that the best you can do? Yeah. Go beat it. Fucking hell! Dear God. Fuck. I told you how it would end. You should have listened to me. This is nice work. The Chief is going to like it. It's new, isn't it? And now, for the maiden bloodletting. Surely your father never would have imagined it would be your blood. I believe there's a word for such moments. The old man would certainly know. But I'm just a common killer. Did you help make it? No doubt you did. Such miserable luck. To die by the sword you helped forge.
Hey, go fuckers! The games are over.
Panut valaki? Kiittämään tuu. Vähänkin, että mulla tjääkä. Joo. Rossajen vagy rossz időben?
Do you need some help?
There's work to be done. Wake up, Henry. It's past sunrise.
Henry, can you hear me?
Get up, Henry. Wake up. It's a new day.
Henry, can you hear me? Hallelujah. I thought you'd never wake. Were you having a nightmare?
Teresa?
You still have a fever. Uncle won't be pleased, but you'll have to stay in bed.
Where am I? In Skalitz?
We're at my uncle's mill in Rattay. I didn't know where else to go.
What happened?
You don't remember anything? I suppose that's not surprising. I found you in Skalitz after those bandits attacked you. I thought they'd done for you, but you were still breathing. Why in heaven's name did you go back there? It was madness. They slaughtered everyone who didn't run.
My parents, I wanted to bury them. I had to...
Don't worry. I took care of it.
Thank you.
Any good Christian would have done the same. Now sleep. You need your strength back. You're awake.
Good morning.
It's near midnight. You've slept all day.
Oh. Oh, I feel like a horse fell on me.
The beating you took was worse. But at least the fever's broken.
How did you manage to save me?
You were lucky. I was in Skalitz and I saw Zbyszek and his thugs. I tried to distract them, but it would have been no use if those soldiers from Tamburg hadn't arrived. They were searching for you and scattered the bandits.
What in the world were you doing in Skalitz?
Waiting to die.
What?
They killed my brothers, my family, my friends.
They're all dead.
All of them. Everyone I ever loved. They killed one of my brothers in the mines. After that, what did I have to live for?
Don't say that. There's always hope.
No, there isn't. But it doesn't matter. I'm a different person now.
Searching for me?
Yes. Lord Divish sent them, led by Captain Robard. So tell me, why is a lord of such high standing interested in a blacksmith?
Sir Divish promised Sir Radzig he'd look after me. But as for why they should care, I've no idea. Ugh, I'm exhausted.
I'm not surprised. I'll bring you water and something to eat. In the meantime, rest. You're still very weak. Good morning to you. How's the invalid today?
Ugh, haven't felt as good as this since they lashed me to the wheel and quartered me on the town square.
Got your sense of humor back. You must be better. My uncle will be glad to hear it. I had a job persuading him to let me bring you here. If you'd lain around much longer, he really would have dumped you on the town square. You can stay until you find somewhere else to live, but my uncle will want payment for taking you in and caring for you.
And this is your uncle's house?
We're in Ratay Mill. My uncle's miller Peshek. He took me in, and I talked him into taking care of you too.
I've been lying here long enough.
Uncle will be pleased he's one mouth less to feed. But are you truly well enough?
Well enough to do what has to be done. Where can I find Sir Radzig?
He's in the lower castle in Perkstein. He's a guest of Sir Hanush of Leipa. But someone like you can't just walk up bold as you please and demand an audience.
I know Sir Radzig, and I didn't bring him his sword as I was supposed to. I must see him.
If you insist. But you need to speak to my uncle first. You've been in your sickbed for over a fortnight while he paid the apothecary to tend to you, and for medicine. That's a good deal of coin you owe him.
I've been lying here 2 weeks. My God.
Better a fortnight in bed than an eternity in the grave. If it weren't for my uncle, you wouldn't be here at all.
I owe you both my life, and I'll repay my debt. You have my word.
All right. But before you go to town, you should eat something. You're still weak. There's food on the table for you.
word with you, young fellow.
My name's Henry. Thank you for taking care of me here.
My name's Peshek, and I'm the miller here. You've already met my niece, Teresa. She took care of you for 2 whole weeks while you were in limbo. And talking of you being at death's door, while you were lying here, you worked up quite a bill with the bloodletter, who came now and again to keep you alive with his potions. That quack doesn't come cheap. I paid him what I could, but I still, that is, you still owe him.
I see. Well, it's better to be in debt than to lie dead in a ditch. What do I owe? I'm not afraid of hard work.
You won't pay for that shoveling manure. I might have a better job for you. And it's not something any fool can do. If you prove to me you're a clever lad, I might trust you with something you could really make money from. What do you say?
Well, what would you need from me?
A trifle. Just to take something from someone and bring it to someone else. And not get caught while you're doing it.
That sounds straightforward enough. Except for not get caught. Why would anyone want to catch me?
Oh, don't worry. It's just a job like any other. Only this one requires, let's say, the right moral disposition. Do corpses bother you?
No honourable man should touch them. That's the executioner's job.
Did you expect I'd give you a hoe and send you out to the fields? You can dig all right, but somewhere else. I want to know whether you're going to hide behind some stupid fucking scruples, or if you might be useful for more unconventional work.
I was prepared for just about anything, but that's a bit much. But go on. Tell me more.
Listen, it's about this ring my mate Wojciech, the Kohelnitz miller, had his eye on. Trouble is, they buried the ring by the gibbet, along with the villain they hung while he was wearing it.
Jesus Christ. You want me to dig up a corpse, take a ring from it, and give it to your friend in Kohelnitz? There's nothing sacred to you.
Money first, morals later. That fellow is dead. He won't miss it. Whatever bleeding heart came up with the idea that it's disrespectful to disturb a corpse never read the Bible. It's still a human body, only it's missing a soul. Why be disgusted by something created by God?
I think I've already heard more than I need to know. You've got the tongue of the devil himself. If you tried hard enough, I bet you could justify sodomy with a goat.
Watch your mouth, boy. There's a shovel here around the mill somewhere. If there's any problem, come and see me. And here's something on the side to make you dig better.
Thanks. I'll need it. I can't believe I've come to this. Digging up corpses.
Oh, and watch out for the executioner and his hounds. They're pretty savage. And I don't just mean the dogs. You can just throw them some meat. The dogs, that is. But the executioner? Well, don't vex him. God be with you.
Have you eaten yet?
Yes, it was very good. Did you bake it yourself?
I did. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Where can I find a shovel?
There's one right outside, leaning against the cart. Take care now. Try unlocking this trunk. Hold the lockpick with the right hand and use it to feel out the tumbler. Got it? Good. Now turn the whole lock with the blade, but don't stop holding the tumbler with the pick. Otherwise, you'll be fucked. You'll have to start all over. You forced it and broke the lockpick. That crack could be hurting Kudderberg. You have to watch out for that. An experienced guard will recognize the sound at once. Tap hand out. Make something out of you, yeah. Remember, this trunk's only for practice. Real hunters never watch out.
Can you tell me...
What about the Skalitz folk?
God sent them to punish us for our sins. They don't work, they just idle around begging. And you want to keep a close eye on your belongings when they're around. I'll be glad to see the back of them.
What do you think about everything that's happened?
I don't concern myself with the doings of my betters. But this mess isn't good for business. Them two brothers should sort things out between themselves without dragging us into it. I don't give a damn who's king, but that usurper from Hungary has gone too far.
Do you know anything about those Cumans?
The heathen scum that Sigismund brought here. Why do you even ask? You've seen with your own two eyes what they're capable of.
That's all. I've got the money to pay that debt.
And I was afraid you had a chamber pot for a head. Hand it over. That job's still going, if you're interested.
Sure, I'm on it. Can you tell me something about the other millers?
There's a couple of other fellows around here in my trade. Wojciech in Kohelnitz and Simon in Sassa.
Tell me about Wojciech.
He's young and hot-blooded, with a short temper. But he's a fine fellow when you get to know him. His heart's in the right place, and he's always willing to lend a helping hand. Unfortunately, he got himself into a feud with that usurer, the merchant Wolfram Kruger. Slimy bastard he is. And now they're sworn enemies.
What about this Simon in Sasau?
An odd one he is, a loner who don't talk much. But he's as dogged as a hunting hound once he gets his teeth into anything. He won't let go until he sees it through, even if he has to walk over dead bodies.
Tell me something about yourself.
There's nothing much to tell. I was born at the mill, I live here, and I'll surely die here. Before I do, I've plenty of work to do, and I hope I live to see peace in this land again.
Would you teach me something about the, milling craft? Like how to get things out of strangers' purses into your own?
Aye, why not? You're handy enough. No doubt you'll master it. Come behind the mill where we won't be seen. Good luck to you. I'll stand here and pretend I don't know you're there. You try sneaking up behind me without me seeing you, and take something from my purse. First, you have to rummage in the purse. The longer you do it, the better chance you have of finding something valuable, but also of getting caught in the act. Once you've found something you want, you've got to pull it out, carefully, but fast enough so I don't notice. Try stealing my dagger. It's there, mixed up with other things. Caught you! If this was for real, I'd be yelling for a guard. Try it again. Caught you! If this was for real, I'd be yelling for a guard. Try it again. That's the way. I hardly noticed you were there. I think you're ready to try it out for real. Best practice on drunks and sleeping folk, so you don't end up in jail before you even get started.
Thanks, Peshek.
You're welcome. But I'll be having that dagger back now.
Henry, I'm so glad to see you.
What's that dog you have here? He looks familiar.
Don't you remember him? It's Mart, the butcher's dog from Skalitz.
Ah, of course. When I went back to bury my parents, he was guarding his master's dead body. A faithful dog. How come he's here?
When we carted you here, we took Mutt along too. He's been hanging around the mill ever since.
How's he doing?
A lot better now. I slipped him something good now and again when Uncle wasn't looking.
He won't starve to death then. What does the miller have to say about it?
He can't stand him.
How's that?
Every time he sees him, he starts shouting that he's a useless mouth to feed and that'll skin him.
Jesus.
And it didn't even soften his heart when Mutt brought a hare from the woods. He was happy to eat it, but it didn't change his mind.
I could have a word with him.
That would be a waste of time.
Does he obey you?
Me? Not much. He's got a mind of his own, and I'm just not strict enough.
Ah, spoilt then.
No, he just hasn't learned many commands. But he's well able to beg for a piece of meat.
How long has he been with you?
More or less since we came here. He runs off now and again, but he always comes back. Sometimes I don't see him all day. I think he likes to go wandering.
So he's doing quite well then?
Yeah. I'd keep him, but He reminds me too much of Tinker, you know? I don't want to think about Skalitz. So, I thought maybe you might take him with you?
Me?
I'm sure the two of you would get on great. He's a handsome fella and lovable. I'd be very happy if you had him.
But we never had a dog at the smithy. We never needed one.
Come on. He's got no one.
All right. I'll take him. He can keep me company on my travels.
Thanks, Henry. Go and get him then. He's sniffing around somewhere here.
Hey, Mutts. Remember me? From Skalitz, remember? Wanna go with me? Come on then. We'll get on like a house on fire. Follow me.
I'd like to know...
So, how'd you like it in Rattay?
It's a big town with good strong walls, so I suppose we're safe here. And they took us in our hour of need, but for how much longer? They'll grow tired of us soon enough.
How are the Skalitz folk getting on?
They're alive, that's the main thing. They have shelter, but they're just scraping by. Rattay's citizens aren't happy the town is full of beggars who don't look like leaving anytime soon.
Do you know anything about those human rapists? About... you know?
They came to Hungary from God knows where, and now they... well, folk tell awful stories about them. I hope I never see them again.
That's all.
Have you got a moment? I'd like to ask a few questions about Skalitz. I don't remember much.
All right. What do you want to know?
How did you get me away from Skalitz?
It wasn't easy. Sir Robard and his men helped load you on a wagon and we harnessed an old nag the bandits had left behind. The soldiers escorted us all the way here, God bless them.
What about the bandits?
So Robard and his men routed them. They killed the few, but the giant who attacked you fled, and Zibishek with him. It won't be safe in Skalitz for a while yet.
Why would Zbyszek do that? I never thought much of him, but banditry?
He was always a nasty piece of work. Doesn't surprise me he joined them. If you knew what he did to me.
Tell me.
When those humans, they call them, when the humans came, Zbyszek pushed me out in front of them and fled. He sacrificed me to save his own hide.
That bastard. Where's the sword I had?
You had a sword? It's gone now. Those scum took everything, including your horse.
I don't give a damn about the horse. I stole it anyway. But my father forged that sword for Sir Radzig. I promised Father I'd take it to him. I have to get it back.
Well, you can't. Just be thankful you're still alive.
What happened to the other survivors from Skalitz?
They sought refuge in Ratay, and some of the Ratay folk are none too happy about it.
And Matthew, Fritz and Matthias? Johanka? Did they make it?
They're alive. I heard Matthias is at the stud farm in Merhojed. Johanka is in Sasau, and Fritz and Matthew, well, you know them. They're up to no good somewhere. The only trouble they'll be in is of their own making.
What about Sir Radzig?
Sir Hanush, he's the Lord of Ratay. He gave his lower castle to Sir Radzig, a place called Perkstein. Sir Hanush lives at the upper castle. The Skalitz folk have made camp in front of it.
How did you get away from those humans?
You're wrong. If it hadn't been for you... When they came to the mill, they slaughtered everyone. And kept me for last. After you distracted them, I fled to the mines to find my brother, but he... My brother was dead, but I owe my life and more to you.
And I owe mine to you. Scales are balanced. I won't trouble you anymore. Let's leave it be.
What are you up to? How would you like to, I don't know, come for a walk?
A walk? I'd like that very much, but I can't right now, Hal. Give me some time to settle in, will you?
If that's what you want.
It's not you, Hal. It's just this isn't a good time.
Well, you're a sight for sore eyes.
What actually happened to you in Skalitz? I mean, during the attack and... well, you know.
That's a long story. Not a very cheerful one. Are you sure you want to hear it now?
I do.
All right, then. It was a day like any other. Another ordinary day in my ordinary life. I awoke at first light, before the others. I like those kind of mornings best. When the first rays of sunshine quickly drive away the nighttime cold.
Hello, you. Come here.
And the breeze carries the scent of dew-covered grass and the bloom of spring.
Aren't you a nice boy?
I wanted to get my chores done before the rest of the household was up. And this morning seemed made for that very purpose. Right. Better get to work. I have to feed the hens, weed the garden, feed Tinker. I'd better get it all done before Papa is up. That should do it. The garden is looking how it should again. Here, chickie, chickie, chickie. Here. Here you are, girls. Fill your beaks. I must bring Tinker a piece of meat. That'll be a nice treat. Look what I've got for you. You'll love this.
Get up, Samuel. I don't want to hear you're the last one at the mine again. Teresa! Come here. Teresa, come here.
What do you need, Papa?
Go up and see the blacksmith. He made some nails for me. Here's some coin.
All right. Anything else while I'm at it?
No, unless you want to stop off at the market and buy some supplies. And before you go, wake Samuel. The boy's still lying in bed and won't stir. He ought to follow your example and Stibor's. You two don't have to be pushed to work. Well, at least he's still better than that good-for-nothing Zbyszek. The lazy wretch. A helper like that isn't worth a damn. If it weren't for his father, God rest his soul, I'd have thrown him out on his ear long ago.
Aye, he's an idler, that one. And he'd hardly give you the time of day, never mind a kind word.
God will reward him in kind one day. Mark my words. You could tell him to get his ass to work too.
Right. Go for nails, send Samuel and Zbyszek to work. If it's at all possible.
Aye, just so. Oh, and Teresa, once you've done all your chores for the day, I've a little surprise for you.
Really? Now you've got me curious, Pa. I'll be on my way then.
How are you?
How's it going, Stibor? Do you need anything?
No, I'll just be hanging around the mill today, carrying sacks of flour and that. And in the afternoon, I'll go and check the fish trap. And me and Pa have some matters to attend to in the evening.
What matters?
It's nothing to worry your pretty little head about, sister.
Oh, yeah. The Millers and their secret matters.
Aye, something like that.
Pa says you're idle, and if you carry on like that, he'll throw you out.
Ah! Why would he do that? Then he'd be left only with Stibor, and Stibor's not going to break his back working either.
Listen, Zbyszek.
Paul's not happy with you, and if he says you're idling, you'd better make a bit of effort. I'm only telling you for your own good. You wouldn't want to lose your job now, would you?
You lot are always going on about work as if it was a blessing from heaven. All right. I'll get to work. Anything for a bit of peace.
That's more like it. You'll see it doesn't hurt. Sammy, get up. It's broad daylight, and the birds are singing.
Yeah, I'm up.
Have a bite to eat before going to the mine.
All right, Ma. You don't have to treat me like a child. Looks like it'll be nice today, eh? I could go to the pond fishing.
But you have to go to work.
I know. But maybe I can slip off after lunch.
There will be no slipping off. You know very well Nemoy has been complaining about you.
What about dropping that pail on Tonda's head? It was an accident.
Not the first accident you've had, though, was it?
Well, there you go, then. If I leave early, nothing will happen to anyone. And you can cook the fish for lunch tomorrow.
You silly sod. All you ever do at the pond is lie around. The only thing you'll catch is more trouble from the mine master when he finds out. Well, if you're not a child, you can sort it out yourself with Nemoy.
Don't I always?
God be with you, Teresa.
Sitting in a tavern with other know-it-alls, bemoaning your station. But devil a thing do you do about it. You can't do an honest job. You're of no use to life. Too delicate to stand the smell of manure.
While the likes of you sleep in it. And I studied so I wouldn't have to do such menial labour as you. You...
What?
You shit grubber!
Better to have shit in a stable than in your head. Those books of yours are of no use in the real world of ordinary people.
And indeed they have no place there. The only use you have for paper is to wipe your arse. Books belong in the hands of your betters. Only a pitchfork belongs in yours.
Tell me, what use is there in this day and age for such a
what?
Such a know-it-all. All you're good for is sitting in a tavern with other know-it-alls, bemoaning your station. But devil a thing do you do about it. You can't do an honest job. You're of no use to life. Too delicate to stand the smell of manure.
While the likes of you sleep in it. And I studied so I wouldn't...
What are you two quarrelling about here, for the love of God?
This pipsqueak here claims studying is as hard a job as working in the stables.
I most certainly did not, because study is of course much harder work than mucking out a bit of horse manure.
See? That's what I'm talking about, and yet it's as clear as day.
Hang on, what's as clear as day?
That study is as hard as mucking out stables, if not harder.
A man who doesn't work with his hands is an idler, and a good for nothing. Am I wrong?
I'd like to ask you a couple of questions before answering. You're a scholar. What are you doing in Skalitz?
I'm on my way to Sassau with letters. This ingrate here is stabling my horse overnight before I continue my journey.
What does your work involve, student?
I'm no student, but a baccalaureus, having completed the trivium of the Faculty of Liberal Arts in the University of Prague. Grammar, rhetoric, and dialectics are my work, while this yokel wouldn't be capable even of learning Latin. Father arranged that I will serve as a teacher in Kuttenberg for 2 years before returning to the university to attend the quadrivium. To teach and be taught, that is real work.
You serve Sir Radzig at the castle, don't you, Master Groom?
Aye, and Sir Radzig is very pleased with my work. I can be rightly proud of what I do, and I bring home a nice wage too. The children are fed, and the wife can buy herself a nice scarf from time to time. I'm satisfied with my lot. How many people can say that?
What's so hard about your job, Master Groom?
That's real work. Not like this parasite here does. On my feet from dawn till dusk, feeding, mucking out, grooming. By evening, I'm dead on my feet. I'm doing something real, see? Something that makes sense. Horses are needed for work, for the lords, for riding out, even in times of war. And someone has to care for those horses. All this good-for-nothing can do is mouth off. But he'd never be able to do a real job.
That's all I need to know. You're both right, but not one of you has a grain of sense. Work is work, whether it's done with your hands or your heart.
Ah, rhetoric worthy of Socrates himself, and out of the mouth of a woman. I bow to you, good maiden. The professors of Prague could learn a thing or two from you.
Are you saying this good-for-nothing here, who has to beg for his beer at the tavern, is my equal? But to hell with it. I won't argue.
God save you, Tess.
Sore knees, backache, bellyache, whatever the ailment, I've got the remedy.
God save Teresa. Good day to you. What do you need?
What's new in the village?
There's to be a dance this evening. Again. Can we not find some other way to enjoy ourselves for a change? Harvest Festival, Pentecost Festival, dances, church, and dances again.
What else would we do for fun?
I heard they have combat tournaments in Rattay sometimes. The men put on shining armour, and folk can watch them battering each other. That must be lovely to watch. Why can't we have something like that once in a while? After all, Sir Radzig is the royal headsman.
But for a tournament, you need knights. We don't have enough here in Skalitz.
Ah, but Sir Hanish's tourney in Rattay is even for commoners. Even our fellas could enroll there.
Oh my god, don't say that too loud. I can just imagine how my brothers would be tripping over each other to enroll.
They wouldn't be the only ones, would they? How about that Henry? He's always waving that wooden sword around like you'd think he was getting ready to go on crusade. But there's an interesting thought now. Which of our fellas do you think would win?
Henry would win for sure. He's always practicing with that wooden sword, like you say. And besides, he's a blacksmith's son. They're always strong from hammering iron all day.
Do you think so? Don't say anything, but I think that Henry's a bit of a fool. And he doesn't overwork himself at that forge.
Anyway, enough about tourneys. I must be on my way. Take care.
Good day.
The one I buy goods from. He said right away he'll take them. And how much do I want for them?
Well now.
I was surprised myself. But I wasn't sure Betty would even want to sell them. So I asked for a high price. And he says that's fine. And started counting out the coin there and then.
Just like that? What I heard about him, he's a right skinflint. And what did Betty have to say?
She was well pleased, as you can imagine. Even more when I told her Tonda will take everything she makes.
That's great. A bit of extra coin never hurts.
No sign of the blacksmith. Where can he be?
God's blessings.
Father sent me to pick up nails, but there's no one at the forge.
Aye, sorry, lass. Martin had to go to the castle to talk to Sir Radzig. He's to forge a sword for his lordship.
Oh, I see. And has he made the nails for Pa?
I'm afraid he hasn't had time on account of that sword. But if you come tomorrow, he'll surely have them for you. I'll remind him this evening.
All right, I'll stop by tomorrow.
Do that, dear. Oh, and by the way, the girls were looking for you.
Which girls?
Bianca and Johanka. You should stop by and see them before you go home. You girls must be plotting something.
What was it about?
They didn't say, but it seemed important. Which probably means boys, I suppose, eh?
There's no harm in that, is there, good wife? You were young yourself once and went dancing with boys.
Oh, so I'm an old woman now, am I?
No, I didn't mean it like that.
I'm only teasing you, girl. Dancing is just what you young ones should be doing. Make the most of it while you can. Before you know it, your pa will find you a husband, and you'll have a pack of children to take care of.
Let's hope it's not too soon. Thanks for letting me know. I'll stop by tomorrow for those nails then.
Not at all. Oh, and another thing, Teresa. Have you seen Henry around anywhere? If he helped his father out more at the forge, there'd be no shortage of nails.
I haven't seen him at all.
No doubt he's at that swordplay with that so-called combat master again. If he could wield a hammer half as good as a wooden sword, there'd be no shortage of nails.
That's a good boy. That's my boy.
God save Teresa. God be with you. Do you need anything?
Any news, Maruna?
Well, there's a peculiar fellow standing by the potters on the outskirts, selling strange trinkets, relics and the like, and he's got a peculiar talk to go with it.
Peculiar in what way?
Well, I went to see what he was selling and greeted him politely, and he started on about how I'm a pretty girl and what have you.
What's so strange about that? Fellas are always talking to girls that way if they don't wear a wife's scarf.
Ah, but that's not all. He started on about how we're different from one another, men and women like, and in a vulgar way too.
So, what did he say was the difference between men and women?
He said a woman's body is the opposite of a man's, that they've got their, you know, outside, and ours is inside. And that it's because men have more heat inside their bodies, and that pushes their things out. But we're colder, and so we've got it inside. Do you think it's true, what he says?
It sounds like a lot of nonsense to me. Maybe he was just trying to seduce you.
Oh, with talk like that?
Well, you know what asses men can be.
Then he's an even bigger madman than I took him for.
I'd rather not say anything on the subject. Take care of yourself, Maruna.
God be with you, Teresa.
I'm glad to see you.
Bianca, how come you're up so bright and early?
Papa has me running around from dawn till dusk. You know how it is.
Indeed I do.
I'm glad you're here, Tess. You've got to help me with something. But first, can you go and see Henry for me? He's at the sheepfold by the stockade, as usual.
Oh? Playing around with wooden swords again?
Aye. He's getting ready for the life of a mighty warrior.
Well, at least we know he'll be able to protect you from outlaws with wooden swords.
Oh well, boys and their games. Listen, would you bring him a beer from me?
But why don't you bring it yourself?
If Pa saw me running after Henry, he'd tan my hide. But I can't leave him dry in this heat.
All right, I'll bring the beer to him.
Thanks. And don't forget to tell him it's from me.
Everyone knows all the beer in Skalitz is from you and your pa.
You know what I mean. And listen, Tess. Once you've given him the beer, come back to me again. Meanwhile, I'll make an excuse to Pa. I need you to go somewhere with me. But I'll tell you all about it after. Run along before the beer gets warm. Good day to you. What do you need?
What else was it you wanted from me?
You brought that beer to Henry, then?
Not yet.
Get on with it then, Tess. That poor fellow of mine will die of thirst. Here.
God be with you, Henry. Mind you don't get hurt.
Good day, Teresa.
I brought you a beer. I'd say you'd need it after a hard battle.
Ah, great. It's as hot as Pa's Forge out here today. That's very sweet of you to get me a beer.
Actually, Bianca sent it. Her pa doesn't want her to come here.
Ah, I see. I'll make it up to her this evening.
I don't want to know how. How come you're training on your own today? You're usually here with that vagabond. What's his name?
Vanyek. And he's not a vagabond. He's a wayfaring combat master.
Well, it looks like he's off wayfaring somewhere else today.
Yeah, more likely sleeping off last night's boozing. Actually, since I've no opponent today, wouldn't you like to have a go? I mean, a bit of swordplay. I could teach you.
Me? Swordplay?
Sure. Why not?
right then. I accept your challenge, young sir. But I must warn you, I can swat a mouse with a broom with my eyes closed.
Yeah, I knew you had the heart of a warrior. Let's go then. Come on then. Show me what you're made of. Whoever is the first to hit the other 10 times is the victor.
What if I hurt you, though?
Ah, don't worry. I can handle it.
Don't go easy on me, Hal.
Ah, very good.
Henry! Really? Now that is hardly chivalrous behavior.
Now, I shall have to fight for my honor.
Take that, you scoundrel! Are you alright?
It's nothing. I'm fine.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Are you mad at me?
No, of course not. It's my own stupid fault.
Well, that'll teach you to go around slapping decent, God-fearing girls on the backside. Let me have a look at it.
No, it's only a scratch and a couple of splinters. And I didn't mean to, you know.
Show me that.
No, really, it's nothing.
You know how it is, Hal. He who lives by the sword
Dies by the splinter, eh?
There now. By the way,
You owe Bianca for that beer. What else was it you wanted from me?
You brought that beer to Henry, then?
I did.
Uh-huh. And what did he say?
He said thanks. That's about it.
Huh. That's just like him. All right. But now I can tell you what I wanted. Fancy a walk in the woods?
Right now? You want to court me in the shade of the pines?
No. I need to pick herbs for distilling schnapps. Henry's favorite.
What herbs do you need?
I've got almost everything, except belladonna. I know a clearing where the best plants grow.
Belladonna? But that's deadly poison.
It is, if you don't know what you're doing. But don't worry, I haven't poisoned anyone yet.
Why don't you go and pick it yourself?
Pa won't let me go on my own. They say a wolf was seen in the woods recently.
A wolf? Hereabouts?
So they say. But it was old Blaha who claimed to see it, and he's never sober. Still, I wouldn't want to go there alone.
Couldn't your brother go with you?
Adam? He'd shit himself if he saw a wolf. And besides, someone has to take care of the tavern. But he could lend us his bow. Good thinking, Tess.
Thanks? So, you're going to borrow a bow from Adam, and then you want me to go with you to pick belladonna in the woods?
Actually, it's not entirely that simple. Adam won't lend me his bow. The last time he did, I broke the string. You'll have to get it from him. Anyway, I don't know how to shoot. But Stibor taught you, didn't he?
Yeah, but that was a long time ago.
It doesn't matter. If the wolf sees a bow, he won't come near us. So will you go and ask Adam? You know he's always liked you. Just give him a wink and the bow is yours.
You might be able to do that with Henry, but me, well...
Come now. You're as pretty as any lass in the province. And once you've got the bow, meet me on the bridge by the lake, alright?
Alright, I'll help you. But next time I want something from you, I don't want to hear any excuses about how you have to see Henry.
Deal. You're an angel, Tess.